concerted efforts to improve things in the cafeteria, and that's really awesome. All these things we want to tie this into the academics, so that everybody's paying attention to these things over and over again, so we really can take care of kids as a whole. And I'm just going to talk about the My5 for a second, which I mentioned before. This is the survey that we based the interventions off of for this year. We're going to be collecting more information through some different surveys and focus groups with students and talking to families, like what do kids need, what do we need at the school to make kids safer and healthier here. So these are the questions that they ask. The last thing I want to talk about is that when they took the 24 schools, and all those schools and their districts had to take the My5, and they came up with a score, I guess, a safety score kind of thing, where they compared Willow Run to all the different schools that are getting the Safe and Supportive Schools money. And just to simplify it, if you see the 2 right down there in the middle, that would be, if you're to the right of the 2, if you're above 2, that would be an area that you might want to focus on or be concerned about. If you're less than 2, you still might want to worry about it, but it might not be your most pressing concern. And I don't know if you can read it in the back, but the ones that sort of jump out are in the relationships part. The quality of relationships is to the right of the 2. And then when you look into safety, which is one, so crime and violence was kind of off the chart. Physical weapons was kind of off the chart. And I don't know, we need to look into these numbers and figure out what they actually mean. So some of the questions were, have you carried a weapon to school in the last 12 months? Or do you know somebody who's carried a weapon to school in the last 12 months? So they're kind of open-ended questions. Like, it doesn't tell you if a kid's packing, a gun every day, or if they brought a pocket knife because they were, going, I don't know. So we don't really know. So that's why we have to have focus groups and really talk to the students and figure out what does that exactly mean. Emotional safety, about halfway down there, that's bullying. And those numbers were actually pretty high, and we need to kind of delve into that too, because in the news that's been pretty big, and I actually walking through the halls, it's usually pretty quiet, but I do hear some things, so like, kids calling each other names and stuff. You hear it everywhere, but. And then avoidance behaviors, which is the other one, almost to the bottom, that's way off the chart. That sort of pertains to kids answering questions like, do you skip class because you don't want to go? Do you feel like you are connected to what's going on at school? Do you like your classes? That kind of thing. So we have a little bit of work to do there. So, and then these are just, you guys have this in your packet. And if anybody else at some point wants to take a look at these, you guys can track me down. And staff, we're going to be doing this in January. So you're going to get more in-depth information on that chart. And I think, and this is what we need from our school board. We need your insight and input on any, once we get going into these initiatives, I'll be back, or Annie will be back, and we'll talk to you about what's going on. Obviously, we need your support, and we're going to need to be doing some community building, so if you have anybody who wants to be involved, and just let me know, and we can start. We've already got a community advisory board going, and I guess it's kind of all hands on deck. We need to bring everybody together to help these kids. I think that's it. Sorry, that was I went as fast as I could. That was a lot of information. I apologize. I know you guys have very limited time, but do you have any questions, or I can always come back.
I just have a comment. I would like for you to periodically update us
on
how things are going.
I will, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very
Okay. Sorry I went so fast.
Glad to see this going.
Yeah, it's great. I'm very excited about it. There's so many opportunities, and we have some. They've allowed us to be a little bit creative with what we do, so we can kind of think outside the box. So we'll need your help in the future. So I'll be back. It's a threat.
Students that are in the audience, your obligation is to stay until 8 o'clock. If the meeting goes on past 8 o'clock, we will take a recess somewhere around 8 o'clock to allow you to get your share. Please wait till we take that break before you approach get your agenda signed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. Do we have any consideration or additions to tonight's agenda?
I move that we delete item number 11E.
Give me a second, or you will be able to do that.
It's not second. Can we get approval of agenda?
Mr. President, I move the Willow Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
Support?
It has been moved and supported that the Willow Board of Education approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
Mr. President, I move the Willow Board of Education approve the minutes as presented from the board meeting of December 1st, 2011.
Support?
It has been moved and supported that the Willow Board of Education approve the minutes as presented from the board meeting of December 1st, 2011. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any acknowledgements or correspondence tonight?
Next one.
Do we have any board committee reports?
The Finance Committee did meet last Friday. I even written up the minutes, but I didn't put them along with me. Anyway, we were discussing the financial situations here and the fact that we need to work very hard to really deal with like a $1.5 million problem for this year's budget. But I will have those, and I wouldn't discuss them too much now anyway, because the committee hasn't seen the draft yet.
On that one, as far as athletic council, I don't know if you get the email from Ms. Ashley for those on athletic council.
No, it's not.
Talking about the 21st. He wants to have a meeting on the 21st. If you're able to make it or not, let him know. So you know if you proceed on it or not. I believe it said that email said it's at 5 o'clock. And you can get Mr. Acker's email online.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Approval of contract agreement.
I move that the Willow Run Board of Education authorize the superintendent to participate in a county-wide consortium to offer Great Start Readiness Program, GSRP, services to at-risk 4-year-old students in Washtenaw County as per attached. Support?
It has been moved and supported that the Willow Run Board of Education authorize the superintendent to participate in a countywide consortium to offer Great Start Readiness Program services to at-risk 4-year-old students in Washtenaw County as per attached. Discussion?
We discussed this at the last meeting and held our discussion at that time. And you do have the contract that recognizes the 34 slots opposed to the 81.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.